Hello, welcome back. It's Shawnee. Happy holidays. Today's video, I just want to tell you about the indie brands that I tried this year. Apparently, it was like the year of the indie brand for me. Now, most of these brands have been around for a while, but I'm just getting around to trying them. Now, indie brands are independently owned. I can really appreciate supporting a small business. I think especially ever since I started my own business-ish. I have a private practice. I'm a licensed psychologist, but I know how difficult it can be to be a small business, to be a woman-owned, Black-owned business. So I really like to make sure that I support others as much as I can. And it really does help that most of these have been brands whose products I've really liked. So that makes it even better. Now, the way I'm going to talk about these is just going to go in the order in which I tried them, and I'll show you like some of the things that I have from the brands, maybe not everything, because I don't want you to judge me. Thanks. But I will let you know how my experience has been, and you can also let me know if you've tried these brands or you want to, or if there are other brands that you think I might like that are indie brands, independently owned. Now, I do like my mainstream brands too, but I do feel something special about supporting smaller businesses. Now, the first indie brand that I tried this year is Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and I right now have 3 palettes from them. I have their Blends palette, which is a sort of rainbow palette of mattes, just mattes. So if you are looking in your collection and you see that all you've got is shimmers and you just want a good palette of mattes, then this is a really good one. I also have their Surge palette, which is a mixture of mattes and shimmers. This is probably my favorite one out of the ones that I have. So you can see that there are the 3 rows of mattes here. They've got a row of shimmers. And then this last row here, these are your neon shades. Now, they are supposed to light up in black light. I don't really go nowhere where I'm under a black light, so I need somebody to go ahead and try that and report back, because I don't know, the next time I'm gonna be like in a club or something with some black light. And the third one that I have is their the Dollhouse palette. Now, this one is another mix of mattes and shimmers. There are shimmers at the top and then the bottom, and the mattes are in the middle. And this one has a lot of cool tones, a lot of deeper shades. I really can appreciate the gradient of shades that it has here. I could probably get rid of this row here. If you see, like with my skin tone, this second row here is just pretty light. I would say that the formula is consistent across the 3 palettes that I have. The mattes and the shimmers are really nice. The shimmers are not like chunky glitter or anything. They're very smooth, and the mattes are also very smooth and very pigmented. So I really, really enjoy the 3 palettes that I have from them. Now, they have come out with 2 newer palettes. The first one is called Primal. I can't recall the second one, but it is a smaller palette, which I can appreciate that it's smaller, because these are like 25 or 30 shades, which are, you know, that's larger, and I can understand that being a bit overwhelming for some folks. So I think them coming out with smaller palettes is a good idea. I do know that they also have like brushes, and they recently came out with lip products and stuff. I haven't tried those, but I do enjoy the eyeshadow palettes that I have from them. I don't know that I'll get any more, just because I feel like these 3 cover like all of the colors and consistencies that I need, but I do know that other folks have enjoyed the 2 newer palettes that they've come out with. But I say you can definitely believe the hype on Blend Bunny. Good, solid formula, and I love the shades. They do allow for some really like boom pow in your face looks. Now, the next brand that I tried is Adept Cosmetics, and I currently have 5 of their palettes, 4 of which are with me right now. The 5th one is downstairs on the dining room table. Don't ask why, because I don't know. But I have here Plain Jane Remastered, which is the first one that I purchased from them. This is all shimmer, like all duo and multi-chromes. I also have the Heather Austin palette, and this was also my first introduction to Heather Austin in her channel. I really like this one a lot, and even though like I feel like the color story can be a bit like weird when you look at it, but all of the shades go together so well. It's kind of amazing. I also have Amunet. I did a video on this palette and I talked about the names of the gods and goddesses in here. That was really cool, just finding out more of that information, and I can really appreciate that they put thought into how they were naming the shades. And then lastly, I have Ninhydrin, which is one that I've used less frequently as the others in comparison. I mean, it's one that I got more recently. The last one that I bought that's on the dining room table is Minka, and I'm really excited to use that one. But I would say this one is the one that I enjoy the least for some reason. I just get really excited about the first three a lot, and I actually really appreciate that these are magnetized. Let me grab a magnet and see if I can. So all of their palettes are magnetized. They come in these square pans, the shadows do. And what I like is that on the back, there is the number or name of the shade. So if you want to rearrange your palettes, you can. They all fit into, you know, the other palettes. All the shades fit into each palette. You know what I'm saying. Stop it. So I actually had ended up rearranging Plain Jane, Amunet, and Heather Austin across the three. Like I created color stories in each palette, and I really, really liked it. But then I wanted them all to be back to their like original format, original layout, and I really appreciated that all of the pans have their names on the back, so I could easily put video chat right back where video chat is supposed to be. This is a brand whose shimmers I love. Now, I know some people don't like their mattes as much. I could take it or leave it with the mattes. I'm okay with pulling in other brands or other shadows or even other singles. So if a matte is not the greatest in a palette, but I really love the shimmers and things like that, I'm okay with that. I do believe that they have reformulated their matte shadows. I had not purchased before the reformulation, so I can't really speak to any of the changes. I find the mattes to be fine. They're not my favorite, but they're not like terrible either. But I would say the hits for this brand are definitely their duo and multi-chromes. Like, those are the hits, okay? Okay. Now, the next brand that I tried is Cosette Cosmetics, and I do have a video on this palette. This is their Crystal Cream Shadow Collection. There are a variety of shades in here. These are definitely creamy, and they are cream shadows, so, you know, you would hope that they were creamy. Now, what I will say is that for some of us in our eyelids, the way things are set up, cream shadows can crease because, like, the back of our hands are smoother than like our eyes, right? So I did notice some creasing when I used this palette, and so I did have to kind of switch around how I was using it. So basically I used a very like matte base. I used one of the Danessa Myricks Color Fix, used it as a base on my eye, and then I went in with the cream shadow, and that made it last all day. I do enjoy this. I don't know if I'll purchase anything else from the brand, because even though I like this, I do find it similar to my Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. In terms of the shades, and that palette is just like amazing. I actually used them together for a look like a couple weeks ago. Now, I like this sort of like what do you call this packaging? It has this cushion. Is that what it is? It's like this cushion right here, which I really like. And these are also magnetized, if I remember correctly, so you can pop them out and use them to make your own palette. When I looked on the website, and some of you, I think we like laughed together about this, they could just edit their website a little bit, and I think it would come off a bit more appealing. Just some of their descriptions and word choices and grammar and spelling and all that jazz. But I think this is nice and fine. Like, if you are just someone who wants to try cream shadows and you want to have these bright, bold colors, then I think, yeah, go for it. But I don't think it's going to be like the bee's knees. I think you could also go for the Janessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3 and get a lot more just you know, from your palette. But Cosette is another one that I tried, and I am glad that I got it, and I do make sure to use these. I just have to remember that they are creams, and I need to make sure to prep my eyes appropriately. So if you don't want to do all of that, girl, stick with your mattes and your shimmers, and don't even worry about these cream shadows, okay? Okay. Probably my absolute favorite indie brand that I tried this year is Lethal Cosmetics. I can't tell you the number of palettes I have from them. I picked out 2, and there are more. We're not gonna talk about it. They're already in the drawer, safe and sound. Now, Lethal Cosmetics, I have a couple of their palettes. I was intrigued by the square pans, and I know some of the other palettes have square pans, but I hadn't really seen them this size, for one thing, and there are just so many shades. So they do have like your pre-made palettes where the color story is already put together for you, but then they also have a palette builder. And what you can do is you can pick out the size of your pan, because these are magnetic, and they're the kind like they're the kind like Natasha Denona and Lorac, where you can stick a pin in here and pop the shade out. They have a variety of shimmers and mattes, multi-chromes, duochromes. They just have everything, and I love it. Now with the palette builder, you can pick your size of palette, whether that be 12 or 9 or 6 or even 4, and you can put together the shades and how you want a palette to look. So rather than getting all of your single shadows and building a palette from that, you can build it right on Lethal's website. The other thing is they have these kind of palettes where each pan will have like a spot, but they also have completely empty ones where there are no designated like squares or anything. So the nice thing about that is that you can create a palette that has some eyeshadow in it, as well as a palette that, along with the eyeshadow, you can put in some of their face powders. Let me grab one other thing so I can show you. So this is one of their larger empty magnetic palettes, and this is where I have a few of their face powders. So these are blushes and highlighters, and then I've got bronzers and stuff in this little palette. This is the palette that I tend to take to work with me when I'm doing my makeup at work, so these kind of stay in here. But look at that. Like, I have hit huge pan on this bronzer. I love it so much. I have it on today, if you can see it. And yeah, I would say this is my favorite indie brand so far that I tried this year. I really like that there are eyeshadows, there are face powders, so bronzer, blush, contour, whatever you want to do, and then they have a variety of empty magnetic palettes, and I really just love that. I do know that they have now come out with a brush set, face and eyes. I haven't picked it up because I was like, girl, you don't have to be the main one or the only one on Lethal's customer list. Like, let other people buy stuff. and I probably will get the brushes. Come on. I probably will get them. I still need them right now. They are synthetic hair brushes and they just look very sleek and nice. So I'm excited to get them at some point because you know I will. But oh my gosh, let me know if you've tried Lethal. I love them. I would love to hear your thoughts on them as well. Now, the next 4 brands, I have quite a lot of singles from them. So besides Sydney Grace and Cleona, these are the brands that I have the most single shadows from. And I keep my single shadows, all of the shimmers and stuff, in these Pro palettes. And I keep my mattes, because I keep them separate. Leave me alone. The mattes are in my Colored Rain book of shadows. So, and these are mainly Sydney Grace. I think there are a couple of other brands in here as well. I keep the mattes in here and I keep the shimmers in these Pro palettes, which I really like. So the first brand that is represented in there is Terra Moons. So I do have a lot of singles from Terra Moons, but I also have a palette from them, and this is their Cosmic Wanderer palette. This is very pretty, very like cosmic and galactic, and I have done a look with this palette on my channel. I really like it. It's so pretty. Like, oh, look at that. That is just, that gives you so much dimension and so much just, oh, love it. And I also like that these are magnetic as well, and you can pop these pans out and rearrange things if you like, or pop in some other singles. But their palette performs just as well as their singles, so that is really cool too. I really like the option of having this sort of curated palette already put together, but I also like the fact that I can rearrange things, or I can take out some of these shades and pop in some of the singles from Terra Moons that I have, or even singles from other brands. But I have really been enjoying how much of an impact these shades have. The duochromes, the multichromes, they're just really, really nice. Very sparkly, bold colors, and I really enjoy them. The next brand from which I have a lot of singles is Copacetic Cosmetics. I also have 2 pre-made, I think 2, there might be more. I have 2 pre-made palettes from them. This one is their Pumpkin Patch palette, and this came out around the fall, like Halloween time, and I really enjoy the shades. Now, this brand is the first one that I tried flakies from. I had to like do research and figure out the flakies. I think I have one right here. So this is a single from Copacetic, and this is called Spread Love. Now, the flakies are a little different in that they are flaky. So when you put them on, they don't necessarily give you that bold impact and shine of a regular shimmer, but you have to put them on a little differently. So for those of you that don't want to do extra work for stuff, avoid the flakies. The best way that I have found to put them on is to use a sticky or tacky primer. So like the NYX glitter primer, put that on the lid, dip into the flaky, and then tap it onto your eye, and it is just wonderful. Now you can wear them alone, or you can wear them on top of other shadows, but when I tell you the difference in between just throwing it on with nothing and throwing it on over a tacky base, phenomenal. Like, that is the way to go. So if I want like a quick, no mess and no muss, no fuss look, I'm not gonna pull for a flaky. That is gonna take my time and attention, and it's going to take me remembering to use the right primer. Rosé? What? What do you, come on. Other than that, I do like their other shimmers and mattes and things. And the cool thing is that if you do want to try an indie brand, they have $2 Tuesday, where they have like 4 or 5 shades that are $2 that you can pick up. And that has really helped me to build my single shadow collection. Now, I will say that they are handmade. I think that it's like 2 people who run the company, so it does take a while. I might have something coming like in the next 3 months, and I don't even remember because I ordered it back when it first came out or something. So if you don't want to wait, you're not going to want to do that. You might be able to get one of their like pre-made palettes a little bit faster, but if you're waiting for singles and stuff, you're just going to be waiting a while. Practice patience, right? Patience is not my virtue, I'll tell you that much. But ordering from these indie brands has definitely given me a lesson in patience. Now, the next brand is Shine by SD, and I have some of their singles as well as a couple of their little pop-up palettes. So this is their Wild Berry Blend pop-up palette, and you can see that these are all berry tones. These are handmade in Canada, and I do like the shades. I find that the shimmers are soft, almost like mattes. They go on very well, very smooth, and I really enjoy them. So this is a pop-up palette, but I think I also have a couple of singles here. Yes, this one is called Destiny. I think this was actually in a palette as well, but I depotted it and just made them into singles. This is one of the shades called Destiny. It's a really pretty color that is good on its own or on top of another shade, which I put a little bit on top of this second shade here. So Shine by SD, I really enjoy them. I feel like they are a solid indie brand, and I really like their colors. I like the wear of their eyeshadows, and I like, again, that it's another small indie brand that I believe is woman-owned that I can support. Now, the last one of the 4 is the brand Pretties for Your Face. The first shade that I bought from them is this single shadow shade called Trinbago, and this they made in collaboration with Jamila, and I bought this because Jamila is from Trinidad and Tobago, and that is exactly where my father is from. My dad's from Trinidad, actually he's from Tobago, and my mom is from Guyana in South America. And so anytime I see any sort of Caribbean person, I'm like, I'm supporting you, hey cousin. So I had to get this shade. Once I got this shade and saw how gorgeous it is, I mean, that just went on like the most high-end lotion you ever done bought. It is just, I mean, the camera doesn't even give it justice when I tell you it does not. So once I bought this, I had to go ahead and buy me some other Pretties for Your Face products. Here's another single. What is this one? This one is called Fame. Fame. Forever. Look at that. Just super, super duper pretty. This one is called Thankful. This is a more flaky one. Look at that. Ugh. Like, can you even? No, you cannot, okay? You can't. I really love their singles. Like, if I want a single that is just gonna be like, boom, pow, I'm gonna go for Pretties for Your Face. I don't know what they put in it. I don't know what they do exactly, but I love it. I'm here for it. I will continue to purchase from them. So, Pretties for Your Face, out of all of the singles that I have, I would say Terra Moons and Pretties for Your Face are like my top 2, and then Copacetic, Shine by SD. I mean, there's only like 4 slots, right? So I love all of them, but I for sure have some favorites within Pretties for Your Face and Terra Moons. Now, the next brand was introduced to me through a gift from Dion Loves Makeup. That brand is Nomad Cosmetics. Dion sent me this palette, which is the Nomad Palette Cartagena Mágica. We did a collab together. Dion wasn't a fan of the palette. I, however, do like it a lot. And what I learned from getting this and talking with her is that Nomad has different like oils and things in their eyeshadows, like in each palette, that makes it different. And that is just so cool to me. Now, Dion has sensitive skin, and so the fact that she can use these with no issue, it seems, for those of you with sensitive skin, sensitive eyes, it seems like they are good to go in terms of being a brand that you can use and not be afraid that your eye's gonna fall off. Now, once I got this one, Nomad has quite a few other palettes, but the one I was immediately drawn to and bought for myself is the Hudson Valley palette, and I really enjoy this. And buying this, I think this is how I found Jan, maybe, or somehow I saw her look, I think, with this palette, and I was like, OMG, I have to get it. This palette is just, it screams fall. And I like the way that they come up with like the embossing on the shades as well as the shade names. Like, it took me a second to put it all together just because sometimes I'm a little flighty. Like, here it says apple cider donut and there's like the embossing of some donuts. And I was like, oh, I get it. The shade name and the embossing. So yeah, that's happened on quite a few of these, but I think it's really cool. It seems like they pay a lot of attention to the details of their palettes, and I can really appreciate that. Yeah, that's really cool. So this is the first brand that I'm aware of that I've used that uses like rosehip oil or different things that sort of make the shadow different from all the others. And I will say that their formula is very nice, very smooth. Things go on very well. Lots of impact. Look at that. That reminds me of like a melt eyeshadow, like a good one. So yes, I really enjoy Nomad. I can say that I get a little overwhelmed with all of the palettes that they have. Like, I can't decide which one to get. So interesting because I can easily like decide on like single shadows, but when there are a ton of eyeshadow palettes to choose from, I'm like, I don't know which one. Somebody pick one for me. So if you have an idea of a Nomad palette that I should try, please let me know. Help me, okay? But I have been enjoying using their products. I've only stuck to these two eyeshadow palettes that I have, but I'm sure that in the new year I will probably have more of them that I decide to pick up. Now, I did a recent video with this next palette. It is the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Glamorous palette, and I think it is so pretty. Once I saw this palette, I knew that I had to order it. I actually wanted another of two of their palettes, but they sell out pretty quickly. Now, this brand is in Australia, so it takes a minute to get to you, but that's okay. You know, patience is a virtue. It's not mine, but we're working on it. But I did hear from the brand, not that they called me or anything, I watched their Instagram. They said that they will probably be getting rid of pre-orders in the new year, and so that means that you will most likely get your purchase a bit quicker. Now, I enjoy this palette. I did like a smoky eye in collaboration with Gel Beauty, and I really enjoyed pushing myself out of the box, like flaying myself out of it, honestly, and using colors that I don't typically. I will use these colors, but I think I use them in a more neutral way. But I feel like I really went for it with that smoky eye, right? You watched it. You know I did. So here is this palette. I also have the Nocturnal palette from them on its way. That has like more greens and things like that. Now, one thing I learned watching the brand's Instagram page is that the owner created the shimmers to go on top of the mattes. So you can pretty much lay any matte down and put a shimmer on top and it will really transform the look. So I'm really excited to try out their Nocturnal palette. And there is their other one. It's like a neutral palette that I really want to give a try. I think I'm going to like it, but I think it's been like out of stock or whatever. So I can see myself buying more from them if their like shipping times and things, their turnaround time for the purchase weren't as long. So I'm hoping in the new year that they have some different practices and I can get more of their products. The next brand is one that I was really excited to try, and then I was like disappointed, and it is Linda Hallberg Cosmetics, and this is their Daybreak palette. Now when you look at it, it looks like a really cool, like small palette that has a lot of cool tones, but the performance just isn't there for me. If you like a more muted look, and also probably if you are of a lighter complexion, this might work well for you. Actually, I don't know, because my friend tried it and she's of a lighter complexion and she wasn't as impressed. So I think if you like a more muted look, then you will like this palette. It doesn't scream like in your face color. It's just very soft and ethereal. And so if that is you, then you will get along with this very well. As for me in my house, I'm not the hugest fan. It actually made me not want to purchase any other palette from the brand just because I don't necessarily go for muted very often. I mean, I look like a Christmas tree right now. So I will say that this is probably one that's going to be decluttered. I do like the small packaging. I like that in this palette, these two shades, the black and the gray, can be used as cake liner, but it just didn't perform the way that I really wanted it to. So out of all of the indie brands I tried in indie eyeshadow, this is probably the one that I was the most disappointed by. Now let's slip in a couple of face products before I end with my last two eyeshadow brands. This is from the brand CXC Beauty, and these are actually gifts from my bestie Jessa. This is one of their bronzers in the shade W4, and this is one of their blushes in the shade Pumpkin Spice. It did come a little cracked, but that's not Jessa's fault. It's not CXC Beauty's fault. It's somebody. That's not us. It's their fault. Now, like I said, these were gifted to me by Jessa, so I haven't tried anything else from the brand, but I find that both of these products work very well on my skin tone, so that gives me like some confidence that other products that they have will also work. So the bronzer, the blush, they both show up on me very well, and I can appreciate that they have shades that can work on a variety of skin tones. Like I know Jessa has this blush, and she is more of a medium skin tone, and so I like that she can use it, I can use it, so that probably means that you can use it, hopefully. And I think if you are of a lighter skin tone, you can still use it. You'll just have to go in with a bit of a lighter hand. So let's wrap it up with my last two brands. I know that I have been speaking forever. This is how my clients feel, so. One is Menagerie Cosmetics. The first thing I got from them is their Sugar High palette, which is so pretty. Very like bright, punchy colors. I feel like this is like the perfect springtime kind of palette, but I wear my shades all year round. So I just wore this the other day and it's the middle of winter. I know that this brand has been around for a while. Like they rebranded to Menagerie Cosmetics. I like this palette so much. It's just so bright and pretty. It has 6 mattes and 6 shimmers. Is that right? Yeah. And they are just so stinking cute. Look at that. So, so, so cute. Now, I did purchase their Claws and Paws palettes. and I have not yet used them, but I mean, the claws is like for cats and the paws is like for dogs, and I don't know, okay? I just bought it because I thought it was cute. I'm really excited to use them, and I will be sure to show you them when I use them. You're not getting a sneak peek. Now, the very last brand is one that I have 2 palettes from, and that is the brand Cosmic Blushes. I have their Serenity palette, which is actually on my eyes today. Lots of like greens and blues and icy tones. And I did do a look with their Royal Rose palette, so you can look for that video, but more of your warmer tones, your pinks, your purples. And like I said, that is on my eyes today. I have seen the Serenity palette going around for so long and finally decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. These palettes remind me a bit of Blend Bunny in terms of the formula, the feel of the shadows, the ease in which you can create a look. What I really like is that I can layer different colors from the Cosmic Brushes palettes, and you can see each color. Like, I don't find that the mattes or the shimmers blend together and get muddy or anything. I feel like you can really just see each one, and I really like that, especially for some colorful palettes. I can appreciate that things don't just blend together and become a muddy, like, green-brown mess, you know? So I'm really glad that I got these 2. I don't know if I'll get anything else. I'm happy with the 2 that I have from them. I feel like they're pretty solid and I enjoy them. And they do remind me of the first brand that I talked about, Blend Bunny. Whew, y'all, how long have I been speaking? Oh my gosh, I am sorry for the length of this video. I feel like it's probably going to be super long. Ugh, but I wanted to tell you all of the indie brands that I tried this year. Lord knows I didn't know I was going to try all of them. I know there's still more that I haven't, so let me know what those are in the comments below. Let me know if you've tried any of these, if you want to see looks with any of these palettes. Most of them should have a video attached somewhere in my get ready with me's or even my just like trying new makeup. You should probably see those videos there. I'm usually sure to put the title of the brand or the palette in the name of the brand or the palette in the title, so you can easily search my YouTube name as well as the palette and something should come up, hopefully. So, whew, girl, I'm done, okay? I don't have nothing else to say. I think that's it. Hopefully some of this was helpful. I also hope that you are taking care of yourself, making sure to just be on top of that because that is very important. I love interacting with you all in the comments. I look forward to all the jokes, the laughing, the energy. It just makes me feel good. And make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I think that's it, y'all. I'm like looking around to see if I have any other brands that I didn't tell you about. Don't call me out like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.